help in the middle of the storm. It had been a long, exhausting day. Jesus had spent hours by the Sea of Galilee, teaching crowds so large he had to sit in a boat while the people gathered along the shore. Parable after parable poured from his lips, seeds of the kingdom being sown into hungry hearts. But as the sun began to dip into the horizon, Jesus turned to his disciples and said, "Let us go over to the other side." The disciples, many of them seasoned fishermen, didn't hesitate. They untied the boat, set the sails, and began the evening journey across the calm waters. But peace didn't last long. Suddenly, without warning, the sky grew dark and the winds howled across the lake. What was once calm turned chaotic. A violent storm arose, crashing monstrous waves against the boat. The vessel groaned, tossed like a toy in a child's hand. Water surged in, soaking their robes and flooding the deck. Fear gripped them. These were not strangers to the sea. They had battled storms before. But this was different. This was the kind of storm that made grown men cry out. This was the kind of storm that whispered death. And where was Jesus? He was at the back of the boat, asleep, on a cushion, unmoved, untouched, at peace. Frustrated and terrified, they ran to him, shook him awake and shouted, "Teacher, don't you care that we are perishing?" Jesus opened his eyes. He saw the storm. He saw their fear. And then, he stood, without panic, without fear, without raising his voice. He looked at the raging wind and violent waves and said, "Peace, be still." And just like that, the wind stopped. The sea became as smooth as glass. Silence fell, a great calm. Then, turning to his disciples, he asked them a question that pierced deeper than any storm. "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They didn't know what to say. With wide eyes and trembling voices, they whispered to one another, "Who is this man, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" What if I told you that God doesn't only work in calm seasons, but reveals his power most clearly in the middle of your storm? Sometimes we ask, where is God when everything is falling apart? But maybe the better question is, am I still enough to hear his whisper in the chaos? In Mark 4, the disciples were not in rebellion. They were following Jesus, yet a storm still came. This reminds us that obedience doesn't exempt us from trials. Storms aren't always a sign of punishment. Many times, they are platforms for God to show his faithfulness. While the wind howled and water filled the boat, Jesus was asleep, calm, unshaken. Why? Because he knew the storm was subject to his voice. He wasn't absent. He was resting in the assurance of authority. And when his disciples cried out in fear, he stood, spoke, and silenced the storm with just 3 words. "Peace, be still." That same voice is speaking over your situation today. He's not only aware of your storm, he's in the boat with you. Don't let the waves fool you. Help is closer than you think. Say these prayers if you want God's help in your life. 1. Lord, calm every storm in my life, emotional, financial, spiritual, or physical. Let your peace invade every troubled area. 2. Father, remind me daily that you are in control, even when I can't see the way. Strengthen my faith to trust your presence over my perception. 3. God, give me peace even in the midst of chaos. Let my heart rest, knowing that the storm doesn't have the final say. You do. Congratulations if you said the prayers. You have taken a powerful step of faith today. In our next episode, we'll be talking about God's divine helpers. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video that will uplift your faith and help you grow spiritually.